My goodness. Hey, everybody. Hope you're doing great this evening. It's always something. I start this. I never understand why, because I never change anything. But for some reason, it seems like it's always all over the place. Okay, let's see if this. If I reset the sidetrack monitor. Oh, still showing. No. That time it changed. Why that happens, I have no idea. Something seems crossed in the software because I'm not changing anything in the settings. All I'm doing is double clicking the monitor that I want to be shown, and then it's like it activates it, but for some reason, it's showing my larger secondary monitor. This is monitor 3 with Weekly Roundup in. I don't know. Hope you guys are great. You know what? We've done 20 of these. Tonight is a milestone weekly roundup. This is the 20th one. That's 20 weeks of content, 20 weeks of free 30-minute English lessons here on Twitch. And for you guys on YouTube, 20 free English lessons posted on YouTube. Fantastic, right? I'm loving them. I'm having a really good time doing them. And here's to 20 more. Here's to the next 20. All right, you guys, if you're not following the stream, make sure you follow here on Twitch. If we get up to 50 followers, I can activate other fun things like channel points and other just interesting things that I can use and do throughout this broadcast. And then over on YouTube, make sure you follow there. Make sure you're liking those videos. Make sure you're commenting on those videos. They are starting to gain traction, and it doesn't need to get big. It's not that important, but what is important is that the people who need to see it, people who would like to have some free English practice, a little bit of free content from someone who's taught since 2010, someone with a master's degree in global education. There we go. I don't need to say all of this because most of you already know me from English at the Ready and the classes I teach there. But for the rest of you, I'm doing this just to help people. That's it. That's what I care about. And when I see the numbers increase, it makes me happy because I know people are watching it. I know when there are likes, someone's learning something, and that there's a global conversation that can happen within the English learning sphere on that YouTube channel, on this Twitch channel, and in our club, English at the Ready Club. All right, tonight's lesson number 20, is the weekly roundup for seasons. We talked about seasons in our classes this week at English at the Ready, and one of the words that we covered was your body clock. Oops, I forgot to add the rest. There's one more I need to add right there, but we're not going to worry about it. It will make sense to you when we get to it. The body clock. Body clock is your internal timing system that helps control when you are awake and when you feel tired. That is very similar to the circadian clock. There's not a lot of difference, but the circadian clock might be a bit more specific and a bit more detailed. Your circadian clock specifically refers to the biological processes that operate on a roughly 24-hour cycle, regulating sleep-wake patterns, hormone release, body temperature, and other important bodily functions. It's influenced by environmental cues such as light and darkness. All right, let's look at these again. Body clock. It's your internal timing system that helps control when you're awake and when you feel tired. That's specific. It's when you're awake and when you feel tired. This is what your body clock does. Track of time. Your circadian clock specifically refers to the biological processes that operate on a 24-hour cycle. So this is similar, but there's more to it. Regulating sleep-wake patterns, hormone releases, and body temperature, your heart rate, your heart rhythm. There's another word, again, the third that should have gone here, is your biological clock, which again is different from body clock, circadian clock. The biological clock can be used broadly to describe any internal timing mechanism that controls various biological processes. So here we are with biological processes again, including the circadian clock. Okay, so this is something bigger, a bigger idea. than just a circadian clock, including the circadian clock, but also other rhythms. Rhythms, such as those controlling menstrual cycles for females or seasonal behaviors, animals. So this is a bigger picture idea. We go from the body clock, which is just your sleep-wake cycle, when you're awake and when you feel tired. Your circadian clock is your sleep-wake patterns, but it's also hormone release, body temperature, and other bodily functions. So it does more. I thought we had a chat comment there. I see what you're doing, though. All right. And biological clock is broad, used to describe any internal timing mechanism that controls biological processes and other rhythms like menstrual cycles and seasonal behaviors, animals. Hey, so these are very similar words, very similar, but not the same. We go from something that's fairly simple, your sleep-wake cycles, when you're awake, when you're tired, that's the body clock. Then we go to the circadian clock, which includes the concept of your body clock, but also adds hormone releases, body temperatures, other regulating patterns. And then your biological clock, which is the biggest idea, the biggest picture of all three, it broadly describes internal timing mechanisms and your rhythms and processes. So again, this one is the big idea, the big picture. Circadian clock, more specific, and body clock is just one small part of all of this. But here we are. This was a question I was asked quite a number of times in my classes this week. I'm going to go ahead, because I can, and fix this and add on biological. I can type it correctly. Biological. That's what that slide should say. Body, circadian, and biological clocks. I was asked questions about each of these, or if I said, guys, we have the term body clock. Can you think of something else that's similar? People would say, some people knew the word circadian and would say, your circadian clock. Okay, it's very similar. But how is it different? I'm not entirely sure. And then some said, my biological clock. Okay, you're in the right ballpark, but not the exact same. So here we are. Your body clock, circadian clock, and biological clock. These are the differences. The next is a word comparison. These are both adjectives, chilly versus frigid. In our lesson this week, we talked about chilly as an adjective, and the definition that was given was when it is unpleasantly cold. All throughout the week, I told my students that I disagree with this definition because when it's chilly outside, I don't think it's unpleasant. I think it can be comfortable. I mean, if you were watching the stream earlier, we had someone named Just Some Guy who said that he's very happy and very comfortable in 26-degree Fahrenheit weather, which is below freezing. Most people would think that's cold. To him, he might say, this is chilly. It's a little cold. Chilly means it's a little cold, not really unpleasantly cold. So I'd strike this and say this is a little bit incorrect. And then go back, please. Those linked. That makes no sense. Whatever. I can't ask the question I was going to ask because I've already shown it. That's fine. Chilly refers to a moderate level of coldness. Like I said, it's a little cold. It's a little cold. Chilly. I'll tell my daughters when they go out in the fall to take a jacket. It's a little chilly today. You may want it. You may not. If it's unpleasantly cold, I'll say, girls, you definitely need a coat and you may not even want to go outside. If you stay inside, you'll be much more comfortable. So then I would ask my students, what is a word that does mean unpleasantly cold? Can't ask you that because whatever's going on with the slide spoiled it a little bit. Frigid. Frigid. When it's frigid outside, or when the weather feels frigid, it means it's extreme, bitter cold that can be very, there it is, uncomfortable or unpleasant or even dangerous. So we have chilly, it's just a little cold. Not too bad. It might be nice. We have situations where we're taking walks on the beach after a hot day. The sun goes down, you get this nice wind at night, and it might be a little bit chilly after a hot day, but that chilly air might be very nice. It might be very pleasant because you can sit outside with a hot tea, listen to the sound of the ocean, feel the breeze, the cool air, wear a sweatshirt, wear a jacket. This might be pleasant. So unpleasant, I don't think fits chilly at all. Frigid, extreme, bitter cold, uncomfortable, unpleasant, or even dangerous. This situation, this is uncomfortable and frigid. This is a much better word for this original definition here. Another word that we talked about a lot this week was blow over. Blow over. To blow, like the wind or a storm blows over. It's a phrasal verb that means when something passes without serious consequence. Blow over. I would say without serious consequence is a very important part of this phrasal verb, understanding this phrasal verb. When something blows over, passes by, and there's no serious consequence, nothing happens because of it. For example, after the argument, they hoped the tension would blow over quickly and they could get back to normal. So in this situation, there was an argument, everyone was getting kind of upset, very unhappy, tension was rising, but nothing happened. They were able to go back to normal. There was no serious consequence. The argument, the tension, blew over. There was no problem. Another example, the crisis is expected to blow over without a long-lasting impact. Again, without a serious consequence or long-lasting impact, the crisis was expected to blow over. You could just take the example as an extreme of two countries that are fighting with one another. They're something that one country did made the other country unhappy. So the problem continues to escalate, it gets worse and worse, and then something changes. And they say, okay, you know what? This isn't a big deal. The problem blows over. There's no serious consequence. Maybe they fight for a long time and just say, okay, they'll let it go. Passes by, blows over. There's another phrasal verb, and I'll type this in the chat here on Twitch. For you on YouTube, listen carefully. The phrasal verb is to boil over. So boil over. I would say boil over is the opposite of blow over. Again, think about these two countries. Things are getting tense. It's getting worse and worse and worse. And if we're lucky, there'll be no consequence. Things will blow over. But sometimes things get so bad that they boil over. There's an escalation, an increase of intensity, and maybe those countries begin fighting with each other. A war begins, right? This is when it blows over. There is a consequence. That war between the countries is a consequence of that tension building so much. Boil over, like boiling water. Think about water on a stovetop. You're making spaghetti, you're making pasta. You have to boil the pasta. And if you're not watching it, once you put the pasta in, it will often boil over a little bit if you're not careful. Boil over. Tension, anger becomes too much that it spills out of the person or of the people who are feeling that tension and engaging with each other in this argumentative. All right, so blow over versus boil over. That brings us to the questions of the week. The first question people had a lot to say about was, have you ever experienced jet lag? How did it affect your body clock? And were you able to reset it? We have people from all over the world. We have people who are from 30 plus countries in English at the Ready Club. And a lot of them have traveled long distances. We have a good group that live in Vancouver. This is where the club began. And these people are from, we have some from Syria. We have a few from Iran. We have some from Taiwan. There is a girl from mainland China. And then a lot of people from South America. The time zone People from South America, when going to Vancouver, the time difference isn't so big. So jet lag is minor, it's not a big problem. But for people coming from Asia or the Middle East to Vancouver, that's a big difference in time. So these people have to adjust. When I lived in China those 2 years, I've flown to China maybe 8 times, 8 round trips back and forth throughout the past 14. And jet lag, my first and second time, was definitely the worst. My first time going to China, and a year later when I came home, the jet lag was bad. I didn't manage it very well. It was the first time and second time I'd experienced it, so I just took it easy. I slept when I felt like sleeping, and just took care of myself for about a week. I learned third, fourth, fifth, I don't know when, some latter time when traveling to China, I learned that if I would go ahead and adjust to their time, I would eat breakfast in their time, eat lunch during their time, I would eat dinner their time, and I would go to bed only when it was dark outside. I'd wake up or set an alarm for sunrise, 7 a.m., 8 a.m., make sure I got up to go get breakfast. And in 2 or 3 days, if I would do this, which word should we use? Let's take a look at these together. Before I say it, which one of these words should I use when I describe this? Would I say my body clock adjusted, my circadian clock adjusted, or my biological clock adjusted? The challenge. I would go with my body clock adjusted, my internal timing system that helps control when I'm awake and when I feel tired. Now, circadian clock would not be wrong. I definitely, hormone levels would definitely, hormone release would definitely change. Your sleep-wake pattern absolutely changes. And other things related to a 24-hour cycle, your body temperature increase and decrease. This, I would say I did notice. I used to, and still sometimes, track my biorhythms throughout the day. I check to see what my temperature is, what my heart rate is, and I do have a cycle, a rhythm that I follow. I do remember that first year in China, I measured this, and it was all over the place. It was very different, or at least my morning rhythms were my evening rhythms. They switched because the difference between here and China is 12 hours, right? So it's exactly on the opposite side of the world and the opposite side of the clock. But I would say body clock because this is most general for this. It's the simplest. I don't want to say most general. It's the simplest way to describe what happens to your body with jet lag. However, circadian clock could fit too because jet lag does affect these other physiological processes and bodily functions as well. But the one you notice the most is definitely your sleep-wake cycle. Right. And how it affected my body, like I said, it just made me tired, obviously. Tired. I would be very sleepy at bedtime in the US, yet it's in China, so it's during the day, say 12 p.m., 12 a.m. in the US. I would definitely be in bed by then. 12 p.m. in China, that's lunchtime. So I'd be very tired and I would be trying not to fall asleep. If I would lay down, I would fall asleep. And it happened more than once that first year. I just would sit back in my chair in the office like this, and I would be done. That would be it. So now when I travel like that, sit up straight, make sure I have a high back chair, something that I can sit comfortably in, don't lean forward, drink coffee, take a walk, take a run, do whatever I can to stay awake till bedtime. 2 or 3 days later, I'll be fully adjusted, have no more trouble. Second question, I have 3 today. The second question, is there anyone in your life that you consider a ray of sunshine? Who is it? A ray of sunshine is someone that just brings brightness or brings light into your life. They make you happy. Most people in the club said that their family, whether it be their children, their husband, their wife, mother, father, brother, sister, someone in their family. I think most people said their brother or sister because they understand them. They're similar ages. They grew up together. They know each other in a way that No one else is going to know one or the other. They're their ray of sunshine. For me, my 11-month-old daughter, she's going to be 1 year old in how many days? It'll be next week. Next week, August 7th. 1 year old. So we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days. Hard to believe. 10 days. My little girl will be a year old. But she's absolutely my ray of sunshine. Everything she does is adorable, so cute, smiles all the time, waves. When she waves bye-bye, does this thing where she starts waving like this. And with me, she'll go, and I'll do it back to her, of course. And it's great. It's the best thing ever. And the last question, do you enjoy spring cleaning? If so, what are some tasks which are usually involved? Now, I didn't choose this question because, it's so interesting to talk about cleaning and how we clean. No, the idea of spring cleaning goes beyond just the physical act of cleaning your house. Anyone watching, do you know spring cleaning means to us when we use it this way? Now, I would say Americans and British people, we all use spring cleaning. Someone who's in Indonesia, which we have a few students from Indonesia, they don't have spring cleaning. Why? What do you think? Why don't they have spring cleaning or the concept of spring cleaning in Indonesia? Indonesia has two. It has a rainy season and a summer. So there is no spring. You have rainy season cleaning, probably have summer cleaning. Would be the closest idea conceptually. Spring cleaning, more than just being something we do at the spring. Spring is a symbol for what? When I say spring, what other words come to mind? What are single words that you could use to describe spring? Spring is a time for fill in the blank. You can pause the video here and think about it and then hit play again. Spring cleaning is more like a time to refresh yourself, to renew yourself. We often relate spring with renewal, new growth, beauty, new life, something new. When you do your spring cleaning, you might also clean out your life. If you remember this phrasal verb from a few weeks ago, clean out, clear out your life, clear out your mind. So it's physical and it's psychological. When we set up New Year's resolutions, right? We go into a new year to do new things or do different things in that new year. Same thing in spring. We enter a time of spring and warmth and renewal. We make changes to our lives and we make improvements, hopefully, to our lives. We get rid of old things and bring in new things. Out with the old, in with the new. You may have heard that idiom before. Out with the old, in with the new. This is what we do in spring. So the concept of spring cleaning goes beyond just your physical home, goes to your mental or psychological home as well. Spring cleaning. And that's what I enjoy about spring. It's a way to get my home, my physical place, in order. And so I'm ready for the rest of the year. It renews and refreshes me after a long, cold winter. And it gives me a chance to move beyond anything that happened in the year before and move into the new year, feeling clear, light, and ready to go. All right, everybody. That hits around our half hour for our English Roundup this week. Let me take a swig of water. I've been talking a lot today. Lots of video class recordings and presentations and things to work on. Thank you for joining me for this 20th Weekly Roundup. I really and truly do enjoy these. Those of you who stop in during the stream, thank you for being here. One, make sure again you follow so our little stream keeps growing. I know there are a lot of people on Twitch who watch Twitch just to practice their English, just to learn a little bit more. That's what the entirety of my stream is about. It's about just speaking, communication, teaching a little bit here and there, and then linking my English at the Ready classes with my Bridge School Online gaming and production work that I do otherwise. Roundups come directly from the topics we week to our club, English at the Ready, right here. If you are looking for regular English lessons, regular and concurrent English lessons, check us out at English at the Ready. Go to the website, www.englishattheready.com. I think I have a command for that. Let's see. Command ATR. I did. There it is. Click on that link there. That'll take you to englishattheready.com. And you can find out more about the team I work with, about what I do with English at the Ready, and about what we do as a club, working together to experience and to learn and practice our English. Also, Bridge School Online, Bridge Gaming. This is basically a production company at this point. I help English at the Ready produce content. I help a few other groups, a few other people manage their businesses and manage their content as well. All of the English lessons go through English at the Ready now. And check out the YouTube. The YouTube is where I'll post the video of this stream and a few other videos. I have a couple of interviews I've done with a pharmacist, veterinarian that are posted there. I do fireside chats. You'll catch those sometimes here. These are IRL fireside chats outside on my patio where I have a fire pit and my garden beyond. This week, I'll be reading chapter 3 of The Wind in the Willows. The Wind in the Willows is my favorite book of all time. Our topic a few weeks ago was books and literature. I began reading this. People have really enjoyed it from in our club. A few people have found it on YouTube, really enjoy it there. So I'll read that live here on Twitch Tuesday night, probably, well, whenever it gets dark. Let's say 8:30, 9 p.m., probably 9 p.m. Let's be real. It seems like most things happen for me around 9 p.m. I have a month-old daughter. We put her to bed at 8. Make sure the other girls, we have 2 other girls. One is 7, one is 9. We make sure they're in bed by 9. So by 9 o'clock, I'm usually free and can give a little bit of my time to you guys here on Twitch and guys on YouTube also. Take care, everybody. Great to see you. Again, thank you for being here for the 20th milestone English Weekly Roundup. And I look forward to seeing you next week, same time, same place, for another one on a completely different topic. All right, y'all. Take care. Have a great week. And I'll see you soon. For those of you who are in the club, I'll catch you in class. Bye-bye.